All right, folks, the race for president is now set. It's a rematch of Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. For half of America, it means we're going to have to endure the mass media hysteria, the dark deeds of the deep state, and the uniparty swamp, better described as a sewer, declaring that support for Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Actually, the real threat to democracy is that we have had a government that has used its power to not just silence the voices and views of millions of Americans, but have self-righteously carried out an attempted coup d'etat on a sitting president. There's been collusion with powerful and wealthy social media companies and the mainstream media, all to manipulate our elections by restricting a free press and free speech. This election that we're in this year will determine if America survives as a land of the free and home of the brave, or if we're just going to be shipwrecked on the shores of socialism. My contempt for what pretends to be journalism today grows by the day. Even the newspaper in my home state of Arkansas has become virtually unreadable in its unbalanced coverage of anything related to Donald Trump or the current governor in Arkansas, who I happen to know fairly well. And that's despite the fact that both of them have approval ratings of the voters in that state of over 70%. Maybe, just maybe, the problem is the arrogance and elitism of those who look down their privileged noses at working class people who have seen their paychecks and spending power decimated by the economic policies of socialism. Or maybe those who have had their traditional values of faith and family sneered at by those who irrationally believe that little boys can just announce that they're really little girls, or that girls can declare they're boys, and even have taxpayers pay to have their bodies permanently mutilated. Now, these same people believe that a perfectly healthy unborn baby can be dismembered in its mother's womb right up until the moment of birth. These are the so-called leaders who, in the name of security, go through our bags and put their government-gloved hands all over our bodies just for us to get on an airplane, but then allow 10 million illegal entries of people who have no ID, no passport, not even a library card. While veterans of our country, people who've worn our uniform, they've kept us free, while they sleep on streets in makeshift tents and cardboard boxes, those crossing over our wide-open border illegally are given hotel rooms, 3 meals a day, health care, and in places like New York, gift cards worth as much as $10,000. This week, we found out that not all the illegal immigration is sneaking across the border. We discovered that over 320,000 illegal immigrants were secretly flown by the U.S. government at your expense from Central and South America directly into at least 43 American airports. And then they got dropped off, so you get to pick up the tab for their living expenses, education, and health care. Oh, you might not be able to afford your own food, medicine, and education for your kids, but you're expected to pay for people who have no legal right to be here and who jumped the line in front of those who have patiently waited to legally immigrate to the United States. And the reason they have waited is because they genuinely want to be American. They want to join us in building a free country where hard work and responsibility can result in a dream come true. Under President Obama, the IRS targeted conservative, Christian, and pro-life groups. Remember the name Lois Lerner? Hey, they got caught, but not one person got charged with using the power of government to strip away the rights of American citizens for their political views. You may not even remember, but the Obama Justice Department tapped the phones of journalists like my friend James Rosen, even his parents, as well as tapping the phones of the Associated Press. Nobody got arrested. Donald Trump messed up the whole plan by beating Hillary Clinton back in 2016. The deep state went after him even before he was sworn in, and they have ruthlessly sought to destroy him personally, professionally, and politically. Joe Biden was supposedly elected despite barely popping out of his basement in 2020. And he's ramped up the abuse of government power to a level I never thought I'd see. Trump officials like Peter Navarro got shackled and jailed. Journalists like Stephen Baker were arrested, perp walked across a federal courthouse lawn because he had the audacity to report on the January 6 riots at the Capitol. Pro-life activists, people like Paul Vaughn, he was just on our show recently, are right now threatened with 11 years in prison for singing and praying at an abortion clinic in protest. You see, this election is not about Democrats and Republicans anymore. It really isn't. It's about freedom versus a totalitarian government who wishes to tell half of America to just shut up and go away. And if you vote for the people who are destroying freedom and justice in this country because you don't like the tweets of Donald Trump, then you lose the right to complain when your children get taken from you if you don't consent to their surgical gender reassignment, or if you're not allowed to have a credit card because you have the audacity to own a firearm. I want to make it real clear. I don't worship Donald Trump. I don't. When I hear people say, oh, these people that worship Donald Trump, I don't worship Donald Trump. I only worship Jesus Christ. Amen. But I do love my country. I love my freedom. And I love my family. And I absolutely will not help elect people who hate everything I stand for and who want to use the government to punish me for thinking and speaking for myself. And I hope you won't either. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I hope you will now. The button is just below this video, and there's a little bell next to it. If you click on those, YouTube will reluctantly start letting you know when we've got a new video uploaded.